Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what is going on? I am Ghost Robo, and this is Dark Souls 3. I had the epic opportunity to go play 4 hours of the game up in San Francisco last week, and now I get to share those incredible adventures with you. I played the character creation, the beginning of the game, the tutorial, a bunch of new areas, Firelink Shrine, some bosses, some bad guys, and one nasty dude with a giant pot. I hope you guys are pumped to see this. I'm so psyched to bring it to you. It's thanks to you guys that I even got this opportunity. Only a handful of YouTubers were able to go up and play the game super early, and it's because of you guys, all your epic support throughout the years. My Dark Souls 1 series was amazing, one of the biggest on YouTube, maybe still the biggest on all of YouTube. Dark Souls 2 was awesome, Bloodborne was fantastic, and now here with Dark Souls 3, we continue our quest for Epic Souls series domination. Technically the 5th game in this series, and it is beautiful. You'll get to see all those gorgeous graphics, the new gameplay systems, and more. If you guys are pumped for more of that footage, just let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. I will try my best to bring you more videos. I got to play, like I said, a bunch of it, and I'll go through and share that with you. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited and what your favorite Souls game has been thus far. Demon, 1, 2, Bloodborne, or maybe you're looking forward the most to 3. 3 starts off really good, and I loved what I played. So let's just let the gameplay and the adventure speak for itself. I'll commentate through it for you, and we will get going. Without further ado, everybody, let's kindle that bonfire and begin Dark Souls 3.
Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. Fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old Lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, Saint of the Deep. Farron's Undead Legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the Giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
So there you have the opening cinematic, and now we dive into character creation, naming my guy Ghost Robo, because that is how we fly. I tried to go through, and without spending a boatload of time in character creation and eating away at my 4-hour chunk, I tried to go through and show off a lot of the different options and how character creation works this time around, as well as the different classes and then the different special stuff you can take with you into the game. And then it kicks off right away into the opening, so we'll have action for you pretty soon after this setup here. But character creation is one of my favorite parts of Dark Souls, even though for the most part you don't see your dude or dudette throughout the game. They're covered in armor typically, but I still think it's fun to go through and create. So you've got your different age ranges and your different classes: Knight, Mercenary, Warrior, Herald, Thief, Assassin, Sorcerer, Pyromancer, Cleric, and Deprived. I like the armor sets. They all looked pretty cool. Some of them more cool than others, and because I was limited on time and did not want to deal with any sort of mistake or restart or redo, I ended up going with the most surefire class, and so we will rock a Knight through these videos here, just because I wanted to make sure I had the skill points and the baseline stats to make this thing work and not end up getting killed or have a difficult start and then burn time. I wanted to get through all the content to the best of my ability and explore and make sure I fought all the bosses, and I ended up doing just that, so it worked out well. When I get the full, the final retail build, maybe I'll end up picking a more creative class, but I think we'll roll with Knight for now. Just going through the different classes for you, scrolling up and down so you can see what their stats are, what the descriptions are, and what they look like. This game looks beautiful. The lighting specifically is masterful. I was playing on Xbox One, and as you know, that's where it was revealed at E3, so they have a little bit of a partnership with Microsoft on that front, but obviously you can play it on PS4, and I'm sure it'll look great. Here are the gifts that you can begin with, and I didn't really take a whole lot of time looking into them, but I do scroll through all so you can see what they will be as you start thinking about your class and your character for April. This game comes out in a month, a little more than a month, and I think it is going to be stellar. I hope this ends up being the pinnacle of the series, rather than a third game Dark Souls afterthought or a fifth game, however you want to categorize it. I hope this one ends up being like the ultimate. I think it looks the best. I love the speed of the combat. I think it's a really just a sweet spot for this series. So going through the different build options, there seems to be more options here than ever before, which is nice. Some of the large head stuff gets real goofy if you go in and specify individual sliders and whatnot, and you can get pretty darn granular with your stuff. So you can go with really gross thick body hair. You can do all sorts of things in terms of the head size, the body size, the abdomen size, the arm size. Make your person super strange. I don't know that this affects anything. I don't think it does. But if you want to be a real weirdo, you can do that. There's a lot of weird characters in Dark Souls, a lot of weird bosses and whatnot. The hairstyles I was pretty impressed with. We'll end up rocking a mohawk-ish thing, faux hawkish thing. I don't really have a faux hawk, but pigtails and braids are way out of my comfort zone, so we'll stick with something a little bit more familiar. Some cool hairstyles, though, obviously, still with that static face look, and you don't have to look at them very often, so it's not the end of the world. But we'll roll through hair color. My girlfriend was at the event with me, so we tried to find a mix of her and me. So we went with my hairstyle, but her hair color. And there were definitely some spooky moments. We both jumped a handful of times. There are two enemies in particular. One guy with a giant pot that, oh man, I've thought about him every day, and his variation with the saw. That guy is nasty, and you'll see him later on. There's also a Harry Potter hat creature that's freaking crazy. They crawl on walls and spook you in all sorts of tight to fit spaces, so you'll see him throw in some different facial hair on. There's tattoos, a bunch of different marks that you can put, and then you can go through and size and position those marks however you want. So again, freedom in how you create your character here. Overall, I loved what I played at Dark Souls 3 and wanted to play more. I was surprised at the visceral intensity of the first couple of bosses. Like, they don't seem to pull many punches, and they throw some big beastly stuff at you right off the bat, and I really liked that, and it kept things interesting. I don't want to say that they require you to play past Souls games, but it feels like they expect you to already know what you're getting into and what it's like, and to me, it felt like the fastest start to a game, which is pretty cool. And I'll obviously talk about a lot more of this stuff as it happens. That is character creation. Didn't want to waste a ton of time, so we are ready to go finalize that bad knight and bring him into existence here at the start of Dark Souls 3, where we'll learn all the buttons and the rolls and the jumps and the sprinting and the strange ways with which you hold the controller to sprint, jump, and still maintain strafing composure. From the sludge we rise, and boy oh boy, sludge plays a weird role in Dark Souls 3. I don't know what the exact lore term is. It reminds me of the Ouroboros virus from Resident Evil 5. It's pretty sweet. So the Cemetery of Ash, kicking things off here, and we are raring to go. The lighting in this game is just incredible. It looks so stupendously good. Just giving you a glance here at how we begin as a weary knight who looks ready to go as far as I'm concerned. Starting off here, sword, shield, triple gem on the Estus flask, and we'll go through the tutorial here, just kind of guiding you into things. This area, I saw it on a Japanese From Software live stream a couple weeks ago, and I was like, holy crap, I hope I get to play the area because it looks so good with the water and the eventual, well, I'll let you see it when we get there. But just getting used to the controls here. Since I played Bloodborne obviously on PS4, being an exclusive, remembering Dark Souls on an Xbox One controller took like a couple minutes to get used to here. As you can see, this guy says hello really quickly, and I was like, hey, yes, I remember how to play this game. So we'll go through, it goes through all the traditional things, backstep, roll, but this is the tutorial area for the game, and like I said, it feels like the most abbreviated and abrupt version of that, which I like. I like the fact that it gets you in right away. I was watching my girlfriend go back and play Dark Souls 2, the first Scholar Edition on PS4, and that has a pretty beefy opening segment. I mean, it gets you where you need to be pretty quickly, but I like, again, that this is an abbreviated version of that. Still tells you everything you need to go, gives you a chance to kind of feel out the world, but then, as you'll see quickly in this video, we fight a really cool boss, and I like that. A whole bunch of item pickups. I'm not sure. I have a feeling that what I played was the final version, or very close to the final version. I don't think this was dumbed down because they knew these were people who had played Dark Souls before and covered it on their channels before. So sometimes in like PAX or E3 or show floor experiences like that, they will dumb the demo down to make sure people don't have a brutal time with it. They still end up having a pretty tough time, but not the toughest of times. But I think that this was the appropriate difficulty and everything. It sure seemed like it, especially based on some of the later bosses. But the item drop rate seemed really high. And maybe I'm just misremembering since I've most recently played Bloodborne and not Dark Souls. But holy crap, the drop rate of items and just how many items I ended up finding seemed like, man, I need a bigger box for sure. So we're tearing through some of these initial ghouls here. Learn the controls, just going through some stuff, kicking our way to the championship podium. Parries and all that good stuff, very hard, but I did notice that enemies do it quite often. There were a handful of instances where I ran into enemies who were just ridiculously good with their timing and took me out in ways that I did not love very much at all. Just going through here and seeing some of the different options, what the menu system is like this time around, checking out just vibration, jump controls, yada yada yada. I was thinking about switching up the controller orientation, but I decided just to stick with it. You will notice that some of the, as we go through the inventory, some of the different like ghosts of other players are like sliding around, and that obviously will be fixed. So that is just because there's no other players to like see, because this wasn't like an online build and it wasn't like the final version in that sense. So if you see dudes sliding around, know that that will be corrected. But here is our equipment screen, all that good stuff. Want to just check out this back corner before we make our way. Ragdoll is in, so we're in a good spot. And I really, really like it. It's so good to be back. I ended up getting sick of the medieval time frame by the end of Dark Souls 2, but really I think that it fits the series best. I really enjoyed Bloodborne, but personally I think the aggressive intensity of that offense in that one, just, it threw me off, and I prefer sort of more of the calculated sword and shield and strafe style. That was a giant ice creature that I'm sure, as in most Dark Souls games, is meant to be attacked and dealt with at a later date. So we will head out into our bright, brave, beautiful tomorrow. And bright it is. This is the sight that I saw in that live stream that I thought was just so freaking cool. Mountains in the distance. The scope and scale here is bigger and better than ever before. They really are comfortable with their distances and what they have drawn in, because there's not a whole lot of darkness to start things off. It is Dark Souls, but it might as well be Light Souls in the opening segments here as we look off in the distance at our inevitable hub. We light the bonfire for the first time, grab the achievement. This one does have fast travel between the bonfires, which is nice. And worked really well. The loads were not like too long or anything obnoxious like that. They did have items during the load screen, so item descriptions and whatnot. Forgive me, I'm making this video super late at night, so it's all ready for you guys. You'll notice that we have another flask there, and that is to fill up our middle meter, which handles our arts, more of like your special attacks. So the enemies will start to get a bit more aggressive here, a little bit tougher as we make our way through the cemetery and onward towards Firelink Shrine, which is cool to see that back. A little love tap, getting the execution from behind. Those are in, and they are super cool. There's a jump here. I thought it was dangerous. Ended up not being. Again, ignore the sliding. It's not super, not a super big deal. Head down to this corner. Hello, sir. Meet my shield. Good night. Guys go down in about 2 hits. So we know we're in a very early area. The TV I was playing on wasn't optimized properly for like the color scheme and the palette of Dark Souls 3, but it looks gorgeous watching it now. Obviously, this is post-commentary because the event was super loud in a chapel. It was in like a bar/chapel event space that was super cool, and they were blaring like Dark Souls theme music. So there was zero chance I was going to be able to commentate anything live. But nonetheless, you'll still get all of my experiences, and I'm sure it will end up scaring me yet again, because it got me good a couple of times. Good night, Fire Archer. You are a thug. So this is where you could have dropped down and probably got a falling attack on that dude. If we look over here, that is where we were. And it functioned as slightly a shortcut, I guess, but not really. So things are going to get grueling real quick. See that dude out there? Ominous. There's candles, there's puddles of water, there's reflections everywhere, looking super dope. And this guy has a massive weapon. Hello? Are you a friend? Are you a foe? Remove the sword. I don't know. He's got some gook wrapped around his chest. We'll pull that blade and end his night of rest. Hello, first boss. Welcome to Dark Souls 3. The boss rush begins very quickly. This guy does have a long weapon, but he is not super difficult. As long as you know what you're doing and you strafe and block and roll. He doesn't chew up that much stamina, which is nice. Kind of gives you a warm-up in case you need that welcome back into the Souls universe. Alright. I thought the music here was epic, so I'm not going to talk a whole ton. He seems easy until he sprouts this gigantic snake, bird, creature out of his head and turns into this massive, diseased demon. Oh, it is beautiful. It reminds me a lot of the Bridge Beast at the beginning of Bloodborne, actually. When his hand expands and his head grows. Chugging Estus to make sure we don't go down. Just chip away at him up close, the best way to kill this poor man. Husk of a knight. The Air of Fire has been destroyed. We picked up the coiled sword, and we'll light the bonfire and restore Ember. And when Ember is restored, that's kind of like the humanity thing in this game, it seems. And you will have fire and lava-ish looking things running through your veins. It greatly boosts your health meter, and there are embers that you can consume that function not only as a way to boost the health meter, but will restore health up to that point. So it almost functions as an extra +1 on the Estus Flask. If you die and start adventuring again, then use the ember when you're low on health, because it will not only expand your health meter, but also fill it up. So those were super helpful, and kind of like a super potion, basically. Just some of the sights and some of the vistas in this game, absolutely stunning. So we took down the first boss, pretty easy, like I said. A nice, like, intro, like kind of just revving the engine once again as we open these doors. I like the fire effects through your body. I'm not sure what the lore explanation of why you have flames through you is, but I'm sure someone will know in the comments and can educate me there. But again, lots of items everywhere. Broken sword, telling you to open the menu if you wanted to like switch things up there. Again, with the snow-capped peaks. We'll head down this place here. Bunch of these Grim Reaper-looking fools defending their white orbs of item deliciousness. Good night, friend. I did not want to fall off here. That guy didn't die there, so he'll just slump and get a head rush for the next 1,000 years or so. We'll carefully navigate this little path and grab a homeward bone. Nothing else over here, but you have to be extra sure. I did try to explore some of the nooks and crannies. Not all of them, because I knew I was short on time, but I tried to make sure I was thorough with the world just to give you guys a real good look at what all it had. So I was like, where do I go? Up the hill. Oh, no. I didn't know how big the areas were, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Again, with the lighting, just knocking my socks off. Currently, they're already off. But if I had them on, they'd probably be falling off once again. A little bit of aggro on those guys up the hill for the first time, really. Taking some hits, but again, that boosted HP meter means I'm not too worried. Good night to you, Mr. Archer, and sayonara to you, Spearman McGee. Firelink Shrine is right up there, and that will play host to the blacksmith and where you'll level up and all that jazz. We'll explore that further in the next video, I believe. But that is kind of the intro there and the beginning, and from here things just get a whole lot weirder and a whole lot more chaotic. So back in the Firelink Shrine, I was like, did I miss anything? I want to make sure there wasn't an extra path, because they sort of listed out the areas we would explore, and at this point I was like, just out of curiosity, could that be a bad guy? I was like, probably not, based on all the candles. I mean, there's a lot of blood splatters on the floor, a lot of marks of death, so I was concerned, like, is this actually like a trick thing, like that you expect it to be your level up master?
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one.
But it ends up being your level up master.
I'm a firekeeper. I tend to the flame and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones and must be delivered to them. To this end, I am at thy side.
Sweet. So we have a friend, and we will work.
Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
We'll work our magic and move our ways up the level ladder. Kind of a weird way to put it, Miss Firekeeper saying touch the darkness inside me, but hey, we'll do that. Our stat screen is here, and we will move our way through. Beginning with points, obviously, they don't start you at level 0, otherwise you'd have nothing. You can remove that to simplify things, which I thought was strange. I guess if you're like, I don't even want to deal with stats and numbers and math, you can, I guess, just go through and not look at that and see more of the world. It makes the menu look kind of awkward. But going through just the different attributes here, if you're not familiar with what vitality and endurance and vigor and all that is, you can pause and read through those descriptions. I just wanted to make sure that they were all the same and knew what they were and where we would place our points as we work our way down and up. You'll notice there's an attunement slot thing on the bottom right over there, and I'll put my points into strength for now to boost our attack power and get gobbling up the guys and girls that we fight more easily. Yeah, so grabbing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, had some souls to spend, and that's kind of nice and fun that you can dump these in right away. I ended up leveling up quite a bit during my time with the game and probably would need to do a little bit more. By the end, I was sprinting through some areas just to make sure I reached the end. So the Firekeeper is here, and I picked up that fire gem. That was my initial the gift that I grabbed at the beginning of the game. You can see our different armors and whatnot. Estus Flask, and then there's the Ashen Flask, which is the one that fills the other stuff. Cashing in souls, like you do, and they are called souls here, which is good. And the menu system, obviously, a lot of this interface and just sort of the overarching foundation is very similar to the past games, but I did feel like it plays a bit faster, not as fast as Bloodborne, obviously, but faster than in the past, at least as far as I can remember. I didn't, frame count these things or whatnot. Looking at my weapons here, just seeing what I got going on, and that will just about do it for this first bit here. I have more footage. I'm kind of have some constraints on how much I can show, but I will try my best to get you as much of the game as I can. So if you want to see that, give it a big thumbs up. Maybe if we get a bunch of them, they'll be like, you know what, just post whatever you want, and I can show you all of it. That would be amazing, because I have hours and hours of Dark Souls 3 goodness. But that is the beginning. I hope you guys are enjoying it thus far. Super grateful. Big thanks to all of you for supporting me so that I can make this happen, and big thanks to Bandai Namco for inviting me up to play the game and check it out for us to enjoy together. A bunch of different characters here. This will be the last one we talk to today.
Another one. Well, you're not alone. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we're talking true legend.
So he ends up giving us a gesture and talks about returning the Lords of Cinder to their thrones, which is kind of, I think, also what this room, this shrine, plays host to. Skipping through some of the dialogue, again, just to cut down, save some seconds in case I needed them. But I'll save you guys some seconds and say goodbye. We'll explore more of Firelink Shrine and head out next time. Until that time, though, guys and girls, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this early access look at Dark Souls 3. And until next time, drink so much love. Thanks again. We will see you all later.
Well, a newcomer, I see.